Hello, welcome back guys. So in this video we are going to quickly run through the various exercises given in NCERT publication book for 8th standard. Okay, so exercise 6.1, right, there are 5 exercises. So exercise 6.1, it is divided into sub questions. So the first question, you are asked to identify the unit digit of the squares of the following numbers. See, we saw in our first video, right, what will be the unit digit of squares, right, when your number ends with certain unit digit, right? If your number ends with 1, the unit digit in square will also be 1. When your number's unit digit is 9, then the unit digit of your square also will end with 1. Okay, will be 1. If it is 4, your unit digit in your square is going to be 6. If the unit digit of your number is 6, the unit digit of your square is also going to be 6, right? So this we had covered in our first video. So if you have any doubts about those rules, you go back to that video, listen to it, make notes and come back. You will be easily able to solve this problem. Then the second question, you are given a certain number of numbers, right, and you have been asked to specify the reason why these numbers are not perfect squares, right? So we have talked about different scenarios when a number is not a perfect square, right? So if it ends with 7, it is not a perfect square, right? And if you have odd number of zeros, then it is not a perfect square, because all perfect square will have even number of zeros. So this is what you have to keep in your mind while answering this question. Third question is, you are asked to estimate the squares of which of the following would be odd numbers, right? So the square of an even number is going to be even, right? The square of an odd number is going to be odd. So you will have to basically figure out, right, which are the numbers square will be odd numbers. You have been given a pattern in the fourth thing. See, we had seen many patterns, right? So in the fourth question there is a pattern and there are blanks. So you have to fill in the blanks after understanding the pattern. Fifth is also about pattern. Sixth is also about a pattern, right? So these are all basic food for your thought, right? Very, very interesting question, very easy question, not very difficult. Just you have to follow the patterns. Seventh question is, without adding, find the sum of. So you have been given 5 or 7 successive odd numbers. And the first question, I will read it out for you. It is 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9. Okay. So without adding, what would be the answer? You have to say how many successive odd numbers are given, right? If there are 5 odd numbers given, 5 square is the answer, right? Because we had studied that. The sum of first n odd numbers starting from 1, right, is equal to n square. Eighth question is slightly the reverse of the previous question. Express 49 as the sum of 7 odd numbers. So what you will have to do, take starting from 1, you subtract from 49, 49 minus 1, right? And then you can do it in another way. You need not have to subtract. Okay, see, 49 is nothing but 7 square, right? So it is 7 square. So when it is 7 square, it has to be sum of first 7 odd numbers, right? So you put 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. You take the first 7 odd numbers. 49 will be the summation of those odd numbers. So express 121 as the sum of 11 odd numbers. So 121 is nothing but 11 square. Okay. So first 11 odd number sum is 121. See how many numbers, ninth question is how many numbers lie between squares of the following number 12 and 13, right? So we know how many numbers lie between the squares of 12 and 13, right? 2n number. Okay, we had seen it in our earlier classes. Please, if you don't remember, please go back, listen to those videos, and come back and solve these problems. Okay. So this is 6.1. So 6.2 is a very small exercise. It is asking you to find the square of the following numbers. So you have one question is 32. So how will you find the square? 30 plus 2 the whole square, which is nothing but 30 into 30 plus 2 plus 2 into 30 plus 2. Right? So just simplify and you will get the answer. And you are asked to write a Pythagorean triplet whose one number is 6. Okay. So when you are asked, when you are given one number is 6, you will take 2m equal to 6. M is equal to 3. Alright. So that is one number. So what would be the other number? M squared minus 1. 9 minus 1, which is 8. The third number will be m squared plus 1, which is 9 plus 1, 10. So 6, 8, 10. They are the Pythagorean triplets. Okay. So 6.3, you have been asked to estimate. The first first question is, what could be the possible ones digits of the square root of each of the following numbers? So 9801. So the unit number ends with 1. So the possible digit in the square root could be 1 or 9. Okay. Without doing any calculation, this is the second question. Find the numbers which are surely not perfect squares. Right? So you have been given certain numbers. 153, 257. So without doing any calculation, you will have to find which are the ones are not a perfect square. So we know if a number ends with 3, it is not a perfect square. Right? So likewise, you will have to figure out which are the ones are surely not a perfect square. Okay. Find the square root of 100 and 169 by the method of repeated subtraction. So when we talk about repeated subtraction, you start with the first odd number 1, you subtract it with the next odd number, keep subtracting it until you get 0. So if you are not getting 0, it is not a square number. The number you have started with is not a square number. If it is a square number, definitely you will arrive at 0 at some point in time. Right? So the number of times you are subtracting, right, or the number of odd numbers you have subtracted, that number is the square root. So in the case of 100, you will subtract it with 10 consecutive odd numbers. See, for each of the following numbers, find the smallest whole number by which it should be multiplied so as to get a perfect square. Okay. Also, find the square root of the square number so obtained. So what you have to do is, in these questions, you have to break it down into prime factors. So when you break it down into prime factors, you know that the number of prime factors in the square has to be even, right? So if 2 is there in the square number, okay, then 2 should appear 2 times or 4 times or 6 times. Even times it should appear. So in the square root, 2 will appear half the time. So if you have 2 appearing 2 times in the square number, in the square root it will appear only 1 time. So when you break it down the prime factorization method, there will be certain factors that will be appearing only odd number of times. So you will have to, looking at the number of times the prime factors are there in the squares, you will have to decide how many prime factors should be multiplied with so that it becomes a perfect square. Okay. So if there are only 3 3's, then one more 3 need to be multiplied. Right? If there are 3 3's and 1 5, then you will have to multiply the number with 1 3 and 5, which is 15. So you will have to multiply with 15 so that you get a perfect square. So this is how you have to solve these problems. See, for each of the following numbers, find the smallest whole number by which it should be divided. So it is the other way. So you again break it down with the prime factorization. Let us assume you have 3 appearing 3 times, okay, and 5 appearing 1 time. Now you need to divide it with 1 3 and 1 5 so that you have even number of prime factors, right, and it becomes a perfect square. right? So the smallest whole number will be 3 into 5, which is 15. So likewise, you will have to solve these questions. Right? Similarly, the rest of the questions are also like, applying your prime factorization and, whatever you had learned until this point in time. So, you can go ahead and, try solving these problems. See, exercise 6.4 is about finding the square root. The first question is find the square root of each of the following numbers by division method. So you apply division method and find the square root. Second question is estimate or find the number of digits in the square root of each of the following numbers. So you have to start placing the bars, right? Depending on the number of bars you have, those many digits will be there in the square root. Right? Then there is a decimals that are given. You have to find the square root of those decimal numbers. See, find the least number which must be subtracted from each of the following numbers so as to get a perfect square, right? So you do it by division method, you will get a remainder, So that number should be subtracted so that you get a perfect square. Next one is find the least number with which it must be added to get a perfect square. Okay, so you start doing the division method. See, there will be a time when you know that if 2 is added, right, to the number, then you will get a remainder 0. So estimate that number and that is the number that must be added. Then there are certain descriptive questions. Okay, so I thought we had 5 exercises, but there are only 4 exercises. All right, so you try solving these exercises. In case if you want, right, key to to these exercises, we can always provide you with a detailed key, but very, very difficult to explain exercises through a video of this nature. All right, so good luck. You try out all these exercises. I'm 100% I'm confident that you would have found these lessons extremely valuable, interesting and very simple to understand. In case if you have any doubt, you send an email to askmentorguru@gmail.com. Please do not forget to subscribe, press the bell button, because only when you press the bell button you will get notifications, right? And do not forget to recommend or share this video with your friends and with your relatives. All right. So thank you very much. In our next set of videos, we will learn about cubes and cube roots. Until then, bye bye.